What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna finally install my JDI push to start kit. It's a pretty legit little setup, kind of the best option to go push to start in my opinion. But first things first, you need to pull off your battery terminal. Mine's relocated because, you know, it doesn't fit anymore.
Nice.
But yeah, just pull off the positive battery terminal and then you gotta go into the car. Okay, now that you're into the car, you have 3 bolts that you have to pull out of your bottom plastic piece under your steering wheel. All right, so I ended up just popping my steering wheel off just so it's easier, more room, whatever. But once you get to 3 bolts out on the bottom, usually you can just pull up on this. Gently remove that. Ooh, it's a little tight now that I got the quick release on here. I guess I'm gonna have to remove my bottom plate down here because I put lights in here and it's hitting the wires, so I guess I'm gonna go down there and do that. Alright, so now that that thing's off, I should be able to just slowly walk this thing down. There we go. I gotta let mine dangle because I have a light switch on there for my interior lights. But now, I guess I'll switch back to my phone so I can show you. Okay, so now the next portion of this, if you have K-Pro like I obviously do, you don't have to do anything with this ignition. But if you do have the factory ECU and you don't have an immobilizer or K-Pro to disable it, you're gonna have to end up reusing this. Essentially, all you have to do is you put your key in this, zip tie it around there so it can't fall out while you're driving, and then you're just gonna relocate this somewhere underneath the dash after you rip all this out, if you don't have an immobilizer or K-Pro to shut that off. We obviously have it, so that's simple for us. We just have to remove it. So now to remove this, you can just see it. I'll put an arrow on the screen or something aiming at it. But there's 2 of these and they're little safety pins. You have to hit them with like a screwdriver and a hammer to knock them loose because they're not very tight. But yeah, I'm gonna do that now, and first things first, I have to unplug these 3 plugs here just to get them out of my way to get to that. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, so a plethora of different tools later, I finally got one of them up. I gotta say it is kind of a pain because there's nowhere to really swing a hammer in here. And this one's gonna be even more annoying because you gotta kind of go through that cubby there in between the blinker switch and the ignition, so like in that hole. So this should be fun. All right, so I woke up and chose violence today. So I only took out that one and then I just jammed a screwdriver in there and bent that thing up. So I didn't even have to worry about taking out the other safety pin. So now this whole operation's ready to just drop out. All right, so now this should just, there we go, look at that. Only had to deal with one safety pin. That's fantastic. Okay, so now there's a whole bunch of different little plugs you gotta undo. And I'm gonna get into that now. All right, so I got this whole little operation out, and now is the time where if you were using your factory immobilizer, like if you're not K-Pro or have the immobilizer bypass set up, you would need to take this off and then plug these back in, put the key in the ignition hole, and then like tuck it up underneath the dash somewhere. And it's pretty easy just to take it out. You got a couple screws there, some on the other side, and then this whole black piece comes right off the metal. And again, plug your key in there, plug these 2 green plugs back in, tuck under the dash, and then your non-immobilizer bypassed car will run. So now I'm gonna get into opening up the push to start kit and getting it all plugged in. So I got the kit open, and I currently just have the main wire plugged in. I just ran and routed the RFID thing where you scan your little key tag to start it. That's all done. Now I'm going to get into probably doing the main ground for this harness. You have to ground this little thing down to something down here. I'll probably end up using like the brake booster bolts or something. I'll get up underneath there maybe and show you a little better. But yeah, I'm gonna get into bolting that now. So now onto this ground thing, like I was saying. Usually you just take off the plastic piece down here, but I have lights on it hooked up to it, and I don't feel like taking them out. But way back there, I'll pause it, put an arrow or something. There's a couple bolts there you can see. I'm just gonna bolt it to one of those. That should be a good solid ground. So I'm gonna get into that now. Alrighty, so I did the whole ground thing. Back there to that silver nut. Anywho, now I'm just going through and zip tying wires up. Just trying to kind of route this whole operation. I just routed and started zip tying the RFID piece where you scan your key. Now I'm going to get into doing the safety switch. So I'll climb underneath the dash and show you what you have to do there. So the next part of this is to unplug that white plug. It goes right to your brake pedal or whatever. And I pulled off some of the electrical tape to expose those wires. And you want to expose the white with the black stripe wire. So what you're gonna do with that is when you get this out of the kit, it comes with this little clip. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna clip this around that wire, and then you're gonna plug in that little spade connector into the end of this. So it's super simple. Just crimp this around the white wire with the black stripe until it clicks. Don't go crazy because you can break these clips. And then you just plug this whole little operation into here, and then the white plug into the box. So I'm going to do that now. Alrighty, so the wire is, it's kind of hard to see, but it's crimped around that, plugged in, and I just have to plug it into this box. But now I'm going to route the push to start button as well, so you have to route it through here. I'll do so, and then I'll show you what you do once that button is in there touching that flush. So once you push this through, you just have to re-bend these little tabs back, because you gotta bend those out to be able to fit it through that hole. And then once they're through that hole, you bend them back flat like that, and it just holds it in there. So now I'm going to plug in this wire into the box down there, that last remaining hole, and then I'm going to route the wire, zip tie it up, and then begin the bolting all this stuff back up process. All right, so I got all of my interior back together, and now just the last step is to put on this little clamshell piece, and just like that. Well, let's see if this thing works. Okay, so I just scanned my little key thing, and let's see how it works. Just like that, boys, she works. And then to shut it off, you just put your foot on the brake and hit the button. And just like that. And then I can trigger on just like accessories or whatever, and then another click will shut them off again, just like a normal key would, where you have your 2 clicks. So that's pretty cool. Well, I hope that helped you guys out anyway. I know there was no videos about the EM2, it was only RSXs, so I figured I'd make a video on it. But if you want to see more stuff about this car, definitely stay tuned. And I have a whole playlist actually of the build and doing all the turbo goodies, so plenty of content on there and plenty to come. But thanks for watching.